Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello and welcome to Laguna Seca as the stars of BiS Indycar Championship take to this legendary California road course. Last time out at non-championship round Road Atlanta, we had 3 intense action-packed races with Buchanan and Milwain taking wins, but we saw a newcomer, Sean Fitzgerald, take the opening race win on his debut. Today, we turn our heads back to the championship. Who will leave here victorious after 2 highly anticipated races? My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth tonight, we're going to have Reese Southpaw Racer Gardner, and we're also going to have as well in the booth Christian Hill. He's our director. He's the man who does the magic behind the scenes and makes all these beautiful overlays that you guys get to see here. This race also as well sponsored by the Flying Husky Racing. It's a car club based at Sonoma Raceway in Northern California. Flying Husky Raceway delivers premium driving events and automotive experiences to its member car enthusiasts on the street and on track. Flying Husky Racing is devoted to animal welfare, and especially husky dogs. Definitely something I can get behind. My dogs are rescue as well. A portion of proceeds from all FHR events is donated to help northsled.org Husky Rescue, and that is a 501c non-profit organization. Basically, it's legit, dedicated to the welfare, rescue, rehabilitation, and rehoming of northern breed dogs, including Siberian Huskies, Alaskan Malamutes, Samoyeds, and mixed breeds. Flying Husky Racing supports Northsled through charitable donations and gift matching from our generous members and community. And it's also brought to you as well by Pit Road Productions. That's a YouTube channel you are very, very happily watching. Let's take a quick look at the schedule. Reese, if you'd like to do the honor, sir.
Indeed, my apologies. Yes, indeed, we're at Laguna Seca for this 5th championship round of the season. We've had a few non-championship rounds so far, but we will have one more non-championship round coming at Texas, and aside from that, we've got one oval championship round led in by 2 road course rounds at a couple of very twisty tracks at Mid-Ohio and Barber Motorsports Park. This is a brilliant track, though. Really love Laguna Seca. It's certainly a fantastic track to watch IndyCar racing around, and I'll be looking forward to seeing how the championship standings stack up out of this round too.
Yeah, we're going to have a quick look at the points in just a moment there. Actually, Reese, you're pretty sharp with the points. Why don't you keep going, sir? Send it.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Evolve Sim Sports is currently on top at the moment in the Teams Championship. It is led, though, by Cedric O'Hyan. This is, Zach Buchanan. My apologies. Zach has turned out to be one of the most competitive drivers in this championship, but there's plenty of drivers looking to take that crown from him. 20 points behind to Andrew Hardman. The likes of Joey Haynes and Nick Horvath very close to being tied on points for third place as well. We've got quite a few drivers registered for this championship round, so there's a good opportunity for points for many drivers, but at the same time, many drivers wanting to take points away. I gotta say, the amount of drivers that we have registered for this championship, it's resulted in some fantastic racing between some incredible talents.
Absolutely, and speaking of which, it's good to see a couple of names that I don't recognize here in tonight's race, and also a couple that I haven't seen for a little while, so it's good to see some of the guys back. But let's go over the track a little bit. Now, Laguna Seca is one of the tracks I'm familiar with. I wouldn't say it's one of my strongest yet. Actually, it's the only time I ever hit a podium at the BiS Radical Cup Canada, so I think it was the last race of the season. But WeatherTech, that's obviously the lead sponsor of the track. WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca is one of the classic North American road racing circuits, a serpentine ribbon of pavement winding through the hills of Northern California's Monterey Peninsula. Laguna is the site of one of the most unique and famous corners in motorsport, the corkscrew. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not a drink, that is not a utensil for a drink, it's a corner, ladies and gentlemen. Approach from a long, fast uphill run, the corkscrew is a blind, plunging left-hander that is more akin to a ski slope than a piece of racetrack.
Yep, turn 8 up there at the top of the circuit. You start the lap, though, with a run into the primary overtaking spot at the Andretti hairpin turn 2. Two right-handers follow, where drivers will have to navigate around the apex sausage curbs and try not to wash wide. Turn 5 could be another spot to make a move. It's banked on the inside, plenty of speed you can carry through there, but the run up the hill is more important. The drivers will have to get turn 6 right as they turn in blind on entry, and again, they can't cut or they'll find themselves in the gravel. That's actually the most difficult corner on the circuit for my money. Then it's up to the corkscrew. Only the brave make a move here, but it sets up the remainder of the lap, fast and flowing until the tight final corner at turn 11, and we go on the roller coaster ride again. What a fantastic track it is. Really love the nature of this circuit, and I mean, like you, it's not one of my strongest circuits as a driver, but I always look forward to seeing racing here because it always brings the chaos. It's just long enough to provide some good action, but short enough the laps just fly by. Of course, this is a normal road course round, Daniel, so we have both compounds available here. Drivers need to use both of them in each race, and possible strategies: you start on the softs or you start from the hards. You know, that's basically your options. But which will it be? We are in California in the spring getting to summer, so the track is pretty hot. I'm thinking the hards at the start might be the best option.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being one of the stronger tactics as well, especially these guys who are just done qualifying. You know, I would start on the hard and then know that I've got the better tire in the bag for later. And actually, speaking of that, let's get a little bit onto the format as well. So we do mix it up a little bit here at the BiS IndyCar Series. Obviously, last week we had the free 15-minute sprints. This week, we're back down to the 2 30-minute races. So, you know, it is going to be a little bit different. That pit strategy window is going to be more in effect. Obviously, in a sprint race, you don't tend to pit, and if you did, something's gone wrong. But race 2, the reversed, the top 10 will be reversed. So all of a sudden, if you see somebody who's in like 10th position, for example, and you think that they can make a move forward, the odds are they're going to sit there very intentionally. But another couple of things about this race: we do have a 5,000 I rating cap on this one, which, to be honest, that's pretty generous. You know, if you're hitting certainly 2,000 IR, you're doing all right. 3,000, and then once you go above that, they basically, we call them affectionately, we call them the mailings at this point. So 5,000 IR cap. We also have rolling starts for this one as well. Local yellows only, so you will not see a full course yellow like you would have seen at some of our oval tracks this season. In terms of instant points, we got 20x will get you a penalty, and 30 will get you disqualified and back to the pits, and probably getting a little chat from the stewards after the race. So, and again, as Reese was mentioning, you do have to use both compounds in each race, and the push to pass as well. You're going to be seeing a graphic about that a bit later. Basically, it will look like this red line thing going off, and you'll see that happening. You got 10 pushes of that, 20 seconds per push, and very, very well, it's another part of the strategy as well. I mean, Reese, we could talk about that, or tell you what, let's save that more for the race. Let's save that more for the race. But yeah, it's going to be an absolute belter. I mean, myself, Laguna Seca, it's a love-hate relationship. Like, I find it's a very like turn one, definitely a prime passing opportunity. You can get them under braking, but there is a section before the corkscrew. It's a very fast left-hander as you go up the hill. I think that's going to be potentially an accident hotspot. Some guys will try and force 2 cars wide through that section and going up into the corkscrew as well. Again, if you're going to pass that, you've really got to be brave. But I always found at Laguna especially, you have to really be very sensitive on the braking area. If you over brake, the amount of time you lose is very significant.
Yeah, it is. And the exit of the corkscrew is very difficult to nail as well. You go right through a dip on your way down to turn 9. It's actually ridiculous, especially with cars that produce the amount of power that these Indy cars do. You know, we've got twin turbo V6s in these things producing upwards of 600, 700 horsepower. It's crazy speed that these cars carry. The drivers will have plenty of downforce to help their way through those corners, but you get those wheels spun up coming out of the corkscrew, and it is good night, sweetheart.
Yeah, I can definitely see that being a thing. Another thing, actually thinking about the corkscrew, is these cars do not have a lot of ground clearance. So definitely, if these guys start to take it a little bit too aggressively in the curving, I can see the corkscrew really going off like a bottle of champagne at some point. I can see there being studs of cars absolutely everywhere. Yeah, indeed. And, well, to say nothing of the pit entry as well. The drivers are going to have to work their way into the pit lane on the inside of turn 11. They're slowing all the way down to something like 40 kilometers per hour, which is around about 25 miles per hour. It's crazy, honestly, the sheer amount of speed you have to wash off on the way into there. We might see more than a few drivers in the wall. Yeah, definitely. I know I've definitely come a cropper of that pit entrance there, but we're going to be getting ready for the grid in just a few moments. Now, Reese, having a quick look at the time, and I mean a very quick look, who's going to be your, who are you picking out to score a win in this first race?
Oh, you can't count out Jonathan Wager, honestly, starting on the front row. Joey Haynes as well, up there as well. The championship leader, Zach Buchanan, he's starting in the top 5. So I get the feeling he's going to try and move his way up too. So keep an eye on those drivers.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a very quick look at the grid. Look at that. In first place, we have Andrew Hardman. Alongside him on row 2 is Jonathan Wager. Followed by Joey Haynes and Ozzy Milwain, both of the Evolve SimSport cars, very well represented there. Zach Buchanan, this is one of your BIS regulars. He's alongside league organizer Mike Broomhead for Britannia Ice Worlds. That's 5th and 6th. And Bryson Shute, another Evolve SimSports car, very well represented here. He's in 7th alongside John Benvalid in 8th. And as we have a look and close out your top 10, in 9th we have Tyler Scarelli alongside Mark McDonald for Rust Racing.
Indeed, Asad Nikadambayev is starting out of 11th place alongside Robert Ridgway for Atomic Racing. Robert making his return to the league. Nick Horvath is going to start alongside Takeshi Kita for Atomic Racing. Mr. Sneaky starting in the top 15. His teammate Richard Swindell's just behind him alongside JP Burns. We have Cedric O'Hyan starting out as 17th place, separated by 2 tenths from Nicholas Colander. And then we we have Clovis Girard and Colton Gum rounding out the top 20. Only 5 more cars to go through here. Tory Pushman in the number 9, starting out at 21st alongside Robert Covey, with Marlon Jones and Ryan Chapman on the 12th row. All alone on row 13, Hans Salnave in car number 56. Very good turnout for this round.
It's definitely great to see 25 cars up and here on the grid, and that pace car is going to be getting off. Now, this is another thing that I find interesting as well. On a warm-up lap, Reese, are you one of these gentlemen that's into weaving the tires, or do you just kind of, cruise it around? Like, what would be your take on that strategy?
I don't know, honestly. There's a lot of debate that goes on in the iRacing community over how effective tire weaving actually is on the formation lap. I think with the majority of our drivers here starting on the soft tire, they'd be best placed to not weave, and you see that the majority of them aren't, because these. I think you'll get enough heat into them just touring around the formation lap at this stage, and if you work them too hard weaving, then you'll absolutely fall off the wagon after a few laps.
Definitely myself. I've always been a fan of just, I'm not into the weaving, because realistically it's too hard for me to replicate that exactly. And then in some races you see the guys, if they weave and stuff like that, they end up taking each other out. So it's definitely more of a higher risk maneuver, and each their own. Like, I don't know really how much heat you could get into the tires, and then the iRacing tire model is constantly evolving as well, and it's not just about how like the track temperature and stuff like that. Sometimes it can be in the manner in which they're warmed up. Like, if you go and lock up those tires pretty quick, they'll reach temperature quickly, but then it's almost as if they're overcooked. I mean, perhaps this is something that you've got a little bit more experience for. Like, I understand either way. Mainly myself, I commentate these days, so I very rarely drive, but the tire model, again, something that iRacing is constantly evolving.
Yeah, indeed. And the tyres for the IndyCar would have been getting a pretty big update as of recent, especially with iRacing getting the IndyCar license back a few months ago. And that was great news for the entire community. But they are through turn 10 at the moment, and we're getting ready for the start here. It's a very short lap at Laguna Seca, Zippy. It is time for us to zip down to the first corner.
Oh, I've got a feeling it's going to be absolute pandemonium going into turn 1. But if you're on the inside lane, I'm going to say that's probably going to be the best place to be. Some of the guys are potentially going to lock up as well. I mean, as I'm looking through the field as well, I'm just going to very quick shout out.
Oh, no!
They can wait.
We've already gotten a big crash in the back of the field.
That looks like Tyler Scarelli. And I think that's Ryan Chapman. Oh, it's Takeshi Kita.
Kita involved in that as well. A big crush coming off the start there. Looked like a bit of a delayed start, but lap 1 is continuing, and Wager is keeping the lead now from Andrew Hartman.
Well, that's a great start there for Hartman, able to go and steal that first place away. But as I have a look through the field, yeah, it looks like Ryan Chapman, he's dropped pretty hard back. Definitely not what you want to do. I'm seeing that I haven't reorganized my timing screen. There we go. Yep, Tyler Scarelli was involved in that, and looks like Mark McDonald having a little bit of an incident as well. Right now, though, I'm seeing a couple of guys are already up 5, 6 positions, 7 positions. Nicholas Colander, 8 positions very briefly there. The Hard Charger, he seems something he seems to be quite familiar with, but very quickly as well, and the Cardenbev making moves. Lots of action going on throughout the field. It's a job to know which way to look.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we get a replay of that start pretty soon, because that was not what you wanted to see. Cars coming together on the race start. But lap 1 is complete. John Benwalid and Nicholas Colander now on the push to pass, along with Robert Ridgway. And wow, Nick Horvath dropping a lot of positions. It looks like he's had a big problem at the final corner. Tory Pushman also with big issues, falling down to 23rd place. Horvath actually coming into the pits there. I think he might have been one of the cars involved on that start crash. Pushman, she said that in practice she wasn't really getting a feel for the car, and probably just getting her stop out of the way, as Jones is in the gravel trap, and it looks like Ridgway is as well. That's not ideal there. Is that Ridgway? I think it might have been Colton Gum that was in the gravel as well. Man, bit of a chaotic first lap.
It definitely is as well, and we got to remember these guys have just done they've just done qualifying just a moment ago. They would have all of them would have potentially been on the softer tires, obviously trying to get the fastest time that they can possible, and then the tires would have been hot, they would have been up to temperature, and then to come out into a race scenario, you're surrounded by cars. It's quite the adjustment. It really does take a little bit to get used to it. As we see Richard Swindell's, he's been having quite a bit of success here in the IndyCar League so far, consistently putting in some solid results. You see him there putting on the push pass. As we got a car leaving the pits, that's Nick Horvath, so he's going to be mixed in. He's just popped in front of Zach Buchanan. I can't imagine he's going to be, he's already dropped back, let Buchanan carry on like that. So currently Nick Horvath, a lapped car, he is stuck between 5th and 6th, and it looks like he's just going to basically be stuck on the conveyor belt right now, letting some of these lead cars go by. But this is, as I say that, it looks like Horvath's gone wide in the background there. Oh dear.
Jeez. Yeah. Having a lot of issues there on his first lap out of the pits, probably getting repairs done from the first lap shenanigans, but it's a battle between the Evolve Sim Sports cars here of Joey Haynes and Ozzy Milwain as they chase down Andrew Hardman. Wager, he went to the lead going into turn 1, and he is absolutely skipping away right now. He's making best use of those soft tires. The leader of cars on the hard tire compound is Nicholas Colander. We have Nick Ambayev, JP Burns, and Robert Covey also on the hards, as well as Colin Gumman, Takeshi Kita. Pushman and Horvath have come out of the pits on the hards as well, as I expected. So now we wait and see as they navigate the lapped car of that's Tory Pushman there, whether or not they'll be able to make these soft tires last.
Oh, that's definitely, you know, myself, I would definitely be rocking the hard tire combo. That would be more my style, especially as well where it is we're at a hot track, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is California. It's not exactly one of the cooler places in the world. It's certainly not Scotland, and that's for sure. It's certainly not Canada even, but I mean, it depends. We just had a heat wave here last week. We was getting like 35, 36 degrees in the other units. I could try and translate it to Fahrenheit, but basically I think it was about 90-ish, 95. As I see there, the Evolve Sim Sports cars currently working together, it seems. So we've got Joey Haynes and Ozzy Milwain. They're back in 3rd and 4th. And I do wonder as well, the gap between them, it's about 7 tenths per second. I wonder if Joey Haynes is going to be able to pull Ozzy Milwain away from the clutches of Zach Buchanan. We can't write off Bryson Shoots as well. He's had quite a bit of success here at BIS. As you see, I think that is Chapman that they've just gone and snuck by the lap car there.
Yeah, Chapman back out on track, and yeah, it looks like all of the drivers that were involved in incidents on lap 1 have made their way back out onto the track. Clovis Girard did not take to the start, so that's a free position for drivers further back in the field. So keep an eye out. We've still got 24 minutes remaining in this race. It's a 26-lapper here in both races tonight, so it's a short, sharp sprint all the way to the end, and Laguna Seca is definitely a sprint track through and through.
I just seen smoke in the background, or was that just me, Reese?
I think that might have just been gravel kicked up by the cars going through turn 10, through turn 9, sorry. Definitely see cars getting off the racetrack there because they're pushing hard through one of the fastest corners on the circuit.
Yeah, 100%, and you can see the glow from the brake discs. Like a great example there as they're coming around that turn. It's definitely putting a lot of heat. So generally, if you're working on the car and you see something glowing, it's not necessarily a good thing. But I was just catching up with Clovis Girard. Oh, I'm in. My apologies. Yeah. Yeah, no, for a second, because he did show for a little while of being ahead of Mark McDonald, so I think maybe a little bit of an issue with the timing, but it looks like Cedric O'Hyan is having a little bit of a battle right now with Ryan Chapman. That is for 11th place. Currently 2 tenths, almost 3 tenths per second back. The closest battle we've got going on stream as it stands. O'Hyan, he's a proud member there of Lima Racing, and I do wonder, can he get it done? And it looks like he's managed to sneak by Chapman.
Yep, got by Ryan Chapman coming into turn 4, it looks like, and now he'll be on the advance, try and catch up to the next couple of cars. I mean, he's got 2 lapped cars in between himself and Nicholas Colander. It's quite a big gap, actually. Colander just coming through turn 9 now as he enters the corkscrew. Pushman and Scarali battling over, well, it's not for position, but they'll be trying their best to at least get to the end, get their difficult runnings out of the way here. Quite a few drivers that I think they've had their bad luck completely run out through this race. Hopefully good luck to come as Zach Buchanan continues to chase down the top 4. Aussie Milwane has been caught again by Joey Haynes. Haynes lost a bit of time lapping, but he's managed to catch back up. Unfortunately, they both lost time to Andrew Hardman, so the battle for second place is over for now.
Well, as you say that, we're going to take a quick look here at the battle going on between Assad Nikardenbev and Takeshi Kita. Now, Assad, he's been around for quite a while, and definitely he's got to try and remember to keep the passes clean. Very aggressive driver at times, and hopefully we can, see a nice bit of clean action from him today. Takeshi Kita, definitely, he's known as Mr. Sneaky, but right now, being sneaky is not going to help him. He's going to have to really work hard to defend, as not only that, Robert Ridgway is right behind him, so this is a freeway battle, potentially going on for 17th position. And as I have a look at it, Assad Nikardenbev, he's about 2 tenths, 3 tenths back. For Robert Ridgway, a little bit of a tongue twister there, he's about 6 tenths behind Nikardenbev. So definitely still a fair bit to play for. Are they going to do it under braking? We've seen Assad be quite late on the brakes, hopefully not too late. He's got to remember as well, a little bit of a lockup there. You can see just as, I don't know if I really would describe it as a lockup actually, because as you're going up over the corkscrew, these cars are so stiff, so rigid. I can certainly imagine that left front being off the floor for a brief moment, and I do wonder as well, is this where we're going to see a little bit of extra temperature getting into that left front tire, where it's just once it recontacts the tarmac?
Yeah, I think we'll be seeing that indeed. Nikardenbev is now lining up another move on Kita, and it's defended again from Kita, nice and late on the brakes here for Nikardenbev, but wow, Kita managing to get an excellent run through the Andretti hairpin there. I wanted to highlight, Kita has not visited the pits yet. Assad Nikardenbev and Robert Ridgway, they've both already come into the pits, but Assad in the number 23 has not switched to the soft tyres. He stayed on the hards as he gets the move done at turn 6, but he runs deep. That's a bit too aggressive there. Ridgway on the softs after starting on the hards for 2 laps, and now they're all together coming into the corkscrew. Don't go 3 wide. There isn't enough space for 3 wide in this section of the circuit.
This is definitely a tense moment there, and I'm surprised that we had 3 cars in, 3 cars out. I can hear our director just absolutely tensing up with sheer anticipation. Ladies and gentlemen, that definitely could have ended a lot worse. And who's that now? Is that who they're catching up on there? That looks like another car potentially in the mix. Let's have a quick look there. That's Hansel Nave ahead of them. So that's now this freeway battle has become a 4-way battle potentially for 16th place.
Yeah, well, Ridgway and Nikardenbev, they are absolutely motoring it right now, trying to make up time. Kita having to yield there, coming into turn 10. That was a great move by Ridgway, by the way. He took advantage of the battling and just put his car in exactly the right spot. Salnave is going to let these guys go. He's obviously running his own race, and he doesn't want to interfere with the massive aggression at hand for these two.
And you see there a little bit of sand there on the track, and smart move by Hans Sarnave. I definitely would have backed out of that as well. Choose your battles, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes high risk, low reward is it's not the way to go. You better, excuse me. Oh, and again, great camera shot there. I feel sorry for the cameraman. That was going back a little bit before we had like remote cameras and stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, in the sim we've always had remote cameras, but can you imagine it probably doesn't help. I was watching a documentary on Rally earlier about how Group P basically killed the thing, and I've just watched that, so seeing a camera shot like that just then, I'm kind of like thinking, I'm glad for remotes.
Yeah, exactly. Very glad indeed. It looks like an early call to the pits for Zach Buchanan, who was running in 5th spot. Looks like he's done on the soft tyres now. He'll be doing the rest of the race on the hards. How much longer will the rest of our top drivers be able to make those soft tyres last? Buchanan, it seems, has gotten the best of it, and he's aware that the track temperature's incredibly high. There we go, switching to the hard tyres, new fresh rubber on the number 40 championship leading machine. Let's see what he can do.
Well, you say that, I'm looking at the event log here, and it's telling me Broomhead pit on lap 9, Gerard pit on lap 8, and actually it's saying that Broomhead, I've just had a warning that he's crashed on lap 10. Well, it says may have crashed. We'll leave that open for debate, but as I have a quick look at the timing screen, everything appears well, and he's now on the push to pass. So maybe a false trigger there from the session events. But I'll take a quick peek. But Buchanan choosing a pit earlier, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, certainly will. The heat up cycle for these hard tyres is, of course, a bit longer than the soft, so he's going to suffer for a lap or two, but he's wasting no time trying to get them up to temperature. I saw him weaving a little out of the pits there just a few moments ago, trying to get a little bit of extra heat into the tyres. Down through turn 9, into turn 10. Pretty much every corner in this part of the circuit is banked in some way, as it seems we are getting news on what happened to Broomhead, Zippy. Apparently a spin in the corkscrew.
Yeah, I was checking back on the footage. I wonder if maybe we'll get a little replay of that in just a few short moments. But it was one of the things we was mentioning earlier on about how the cars can get so low. And as I took a look at it, like I could see, it looked like there was a car ahead of him. Maybe that was like a little bit of a distraction. He had Ryan Chapman, who kind of took it a little bit too deep, a little bit too wide, and like kind of brushed the sand a little bit. And then Broomhead, he didn't quite follow him through, but he just cut it a little bit too hard. And oh, here we go. We're going to see it live. So there you can see Chapman ahead of him.
Oh,
that's unfortunate.
Issue. Yeah, technical problem for Michael Broomhead in the middle of the corkscrew. That's interesting. Oh, yeah, and he did end up spinning. You see him getting back up to speed there. Not sure what happened there to our league organizer, but it's certainly been a difficult problem for him. As drivers are pitting now, Ryan Chapman just coming into the lane. There's more battles that are ultimately forming. Ozzy Milwane and Joey Haynes are close. Out comes Chapman, and we'll see where he can end up from here. Let's see, Zach Buchanan, well, he hasn't lost that much time at all coming out of the pits. Very slow coming out of the lane there for Ryan Chapman. It looks like he's just letting Buchanan go there. Oh, man. The confusion is starting to amount here as we have drivers who have pitted, making their way through, drivers who are trying to make their tyres last a little bit longer. Well, when now that we're seeing these pit cycles starting, I think it might be time to have another look at what happened on the start. We saw it at the bottom right corner of the screen, and a few cars involved there off the race start here. This was further back in the 9th, 10th area, I think, or around about the top 15. So a bit of a delayed start, and oh my God, was that Nikambayev? It was Nikambayev that ran into the back of I'm not sure who he ran into the back
Scarelli.
of. Yeah, Scarelli. No, it wasn't Nick Kadambev. Was it?
Let's have a quick look again at that. I'm pretty sure, because that green and blue one, that's Nick Kadambev, and that's Scarelli ahead of him. So you see that he's just trying to cut round. He's caught Scarelli. That's one of the Atomic Racing cars getting caught in that, and it looks like Chapman as well.
Yeah, I think the Atomic Racing car we saw caught up in that was Takeshi Kita, unfortunately, and yeah, that's just a shame. You accelerate up, and Nikadambev trying to jump the start there. Or get a better run, and unfortunately the cars were just too close together to work that out cleanly. So a lot of drivers probably with some issues coming out of this first race. I'm pretty sure the stewards are going to have a good time looking at that, but We'll see for now how the rest of the race works out. Wager, Hardman, Haynes, and Bryson Shute have not gone into the pits, but we have seen a pit stop from Ozzy Milwane. He has switched to the hard tyres. Well, he's still well behind Zach Buchanan. So Buchanan actually being behind the Evolve Sim Sports duo. It looks like that early decision to pit has worked out very well in the number 40's favour.
Yeah, definitely. Zach is someone who puts in the time, he practices, and he does train for the events. And as I'm thinking about that race start incident, I'm wondering if maybe Nakadenbev was a little bit quicker when the green flag dropped. I mean, it's definitely possible, but sometimes, as much as you want to try and go for the gap, you've got to weigh up the pros and cons. And at the very start of a race, I just see it as too high risk. You got so much time at the race start. Yeah, sure, it's a great time to make moves, make positions, but you're better off, in my opinion, just trying to get around a couple of laps, let the field spread out a little bit, and then capitalize on the opportunities once they become available.
Indeed. There's Nakadenbev coming into the pits and switching to the soft tyres. Remember, he did pit for damage and stayed on the hards initially after his crash at the start. Joey Haynes also in the pit lane, and Zach Buchanan has passed him with the 5-lap undercut that he has. So Buchanan could be looking at a podium here.
Oh, I could definitely believe that. Buchanan, he's somebody who likes to be on the podium as well. I think that's Nicholas Calander who's just come in the pits.
Ooh,
yeah, that's Nicholas Calander. Yeah, he's in the pits.
Out on track, though, Buchanan is not too far ahead of the Evolve Sim Sports cars. They just had to make their way past the lap car of Hans Salnave as well. Oh, and I've just seen Joey Haynes go off the track at turn 6. Milwane has moved past his teammate.
Yeah, I think Haynes is going to get away with that, though. Despite the fact he went off, he's there, he's with his teammate, and potentially the pair of them can go and hunt Buchanan down. Now, if I was Zach Buchanan at this point, he's in an interesting predicament because he knows the guys behind him can race. You see there, Jerry Haynes dipping another wheel again, but, he knows the guys behind him can race. Actually, Ozzy Milwane, he's actually met in real life when they got to drive the real Radical. They got to experience that. Thank you very much to Rob Burgess of Radical Canada. That was because they were the pro and amateur class winners at the last season here at BiS Radical Cup Canada. So these guys have met, and I find as well, especially once you've met somebody and then you start racing with them online, don't get me wrong, you're already competitive, you're already keen, you're motivated, you want to win, but once you've met them in real life, that dial just gets turned up a notch. As Richard Swindles as well, he's just made a couple of passes.
Yeah, Swindell's on push to pass and moving into the top 9. It looks like he just got past Broomhead there. He has pitted as well, has a 2-lap undercut on Broomhead, so he'll be working himself through nicely. So we're still waiting on pit stops from our top 2, Wager and Hardman. JP Burns, who's ahead of Swindell's and Broomhead, has not come into the pits either. Still waiting on stops from Marlon Jones, Robert Covey, and Hans Salnave as well. Everyone else has visited the pits at least once in this race. Look at how much pressure Ozzy Milwane is putting on Zach Buchanan there. Almost thought he would go for a move in turn 11, but have a look at the run that he's getting down the front straight. It's not quite as good as I expected, so he's not going to be able to make the pass, but Buchanan wide in between the 2 corners here. Easy does it. Oh, this is going to be a good battle.
Oh, 100%, and it's certainly one that we're going to enjoy. These guys up at the front are definitely, they're keen, they're feisty, as you can see there. Milwane is absolutely hunting down Buchanan, and the good thing is as well that even if something does go sideways, and I mean, don't get me wrong, these guys are pros, we've seen it, we've experienced it. If something does happen, Joey Haynes is right there to try and capitalize on that. So this third place, this third spot on the podium in high demand is realistically Buchanan's 24 seconds back from first and second. Actually speaking of that, Hardman has caught up to Jonathan Wager, potentially a new race leader opportunity.
They're both
going
pitting.
Through
They're both pitting. Wager and Hardman both coming into the pits. And, it looks like Wager has exited the pits ahead of Hardman there. Wager now leading by 4 seconds.
Yeah, sometimes the pits can really, spread it out. Don't get me wrong, the guys will probably be taking very similar amounts of fuel, but they're on the same tire strategy as well. But Actually, it looks like Broomhead's keen to get that position back from Richard Swindles as well. Currently sat in 10th position, so, how hard are you going to fight for that? If it was me, I'd be sticking to 10th.
Yeah, I'd be pushing hard as well. I mean, this is honestly a really good drive from Jonathan Wager. He got the lead and he hasn't looked back since. It's a shame that the last championship round at Road America he had the issues he did, because man, it would have been really good to see what he could have done if he had a little bit more good luck. But it seems like his luck is going to be turning around here at Laguna Seca, all the way down to first gear, a little bit wide on his first lap out of the pits, but by now the tires should be up to temperature.
Yeah, definitely, tire temperature is a crucial thing to keep in mind. You see a really, really wide exit there from Jonathan Wager. And actually, if I think about all the corners on the track here, turn 1/2, depends on how you want to call it. Probably my favorite one is just, it's such a smooth corner. You just gradually unwind and feather in the throttles. You see dipping a little bit more into the sand there. If he carries on like that, he's going to need a bottle of suntan lotion and a towel. Definitely heading for the beach if you get too aggressive on the sand. And this is that particular corner I was worried about there. That little dip, quite high speed, about 130 miles an hour there as they're heading up the hill towards the corkscrew. We've not seen a pass made there yet. Potentially these guys thinking better of it, but definitely a high risk place to try and make a move.
Yeah, I think there might be one lining up potentially for Zach Buchanan, because man, he is it's incredible seeing the amount of pressure that he's under from those two Evolve Sim Sports cars for what is now third place. They've just worked their way past Tory Pushman, the lapped car. Look at how close they remain here. Buchanan is going defensive into turn 11. He knows that he's in trouble here. Milwain is absolutely on it.
Oh, he is right now. He is a deer in the headlights, and Buchanan's really going to have to pull out all the stops. So I expect he's going to take the inside line going in, yet holding really, really tight to that turn 1 corner. And don't get me wrong, it means that Milwain will be able to get a much better corner speed, corner exit, and he's definitely trying to use that. But with Zach Buchanan making that car as wide as he possibly can, and as you can see here, it's great to see the driver cams up. He's definitely working hard. What do you reckon, Reese?
Yeah, absolutely. He's working that wheel massively, but I mean, you can also see how smooth he's being. I don't know why you look behind him there. There's he's not in VR. Probably something happening in the real world there to distract him. You can't afford any distractions at Laguna Seca, though. The corners come thick and fast here. Buchanan's looking at a third place. He wants to keep it, but he's got a double-pronged attack from Evolve Sim Sports.
Yeah, he's got to hold on for just another 5 more minutes. And don't get me wrong, while the simulation is really good, I don't think he's quite at the point you can look behind him and see the IndyCar. As you see, a little bit of a dip from Aussie Milwain. He goes wide, trying to get a little bit of the over-under action. Joey Haynes, very respectfully, just staying behind. He's not looking to challenge Milwain right now. I think he's just said, okay, Aussie, you go for it. We've seen Haynes dipping the wheel a little bit more. As I say that, he takes a little bit of a peek on the inside, but doesn't put the car in the space. I'm sure as a team, these guys will be coordinated and very much aware that Buchanan is the target right now, not each other. As you see, more sand being kicked up.
The problem for Buchanan is he pitted 3 laps before Milwain and 5 laps before Haynes. So both of those Evolve cars are on fresher tires than him right now. With the track temperature being as high as it is, very easy to overheat these tires. I think by this point, we're going to start seeing those hard tires fall off for Zach Buchanan. But crucially for him, he's nailing the exit of turn 6. That's really important. It's really helping him as they pass one of the traffic cone cars there. That's Mark McDonald, who we saw damaged at the start of the race. He's got a crucial gap now. He just needs to hold on to it.
Yeah, Mark McDonald is somebody who I think would be particularly disappointed with the way this race start went. He's showed really good promise since joining the BiS Indycar lead, and I think if he can keep it out of the woods, I found he's just kind of been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Certainly not, I've not seen him make any, gloriously epic mistakes or anything like that. Just been a little bit unlucky. As you see there, that was definitely a bit of a wiggle from Buchanan as he tried to power out of turn 2, turn 3, depends on which one you want to call it. And this is not one of them sections here where you really got to keep the momentum. Some of these guys will be going fully flat. I expect with the downforce of these Indy cars, you can keep the thing absolutely slammed to the floor. But again, so hard. You know, it seems weird to try and think about holding the momentum in such a car like this, but even with the faster cars, it is a crucial part of racing, especially at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, you see even now Mil Wayne's starting to wiggle on the corner exits too. He's pushing hard trying to catch back up to Buchanan, but the amount of heat being put especially into the rear tires around here with those big acceleration zones, not to mention the fronts through this final section. Man, it's really difficult to wheel an IndyCar around Laguna Seca. 2 minutes and 50 seconds remain on the clock. These guys just completing their 23rd lap. I get the feeling we might be able to see 25 laps of the scheduled 26 complete, but time is rapidly running out for these Evolve cars to try and get on the podium. Wager and Hardman have absolutely run away from this. They're all on their lonesome, separated by 5 seconds. You've got to go back another 14 seconds to find this battle here.
Well, that is definitely going to be good news for Britannia Britannia iSports there. Both Wager and Hardman representing that team. Buchanan, he's a little bit on his own. Sadly, you know, I do wonder if he could, if he should have, you know, finds a couple of teammates to run with. He's obviously got the pace, but, you know, Milwain and Haynes and Evolve Simsports actually probably the most best represented team we have here in the IndyCar series. And another little lockup there from Buchanan. But you see there, as I was saying about Mark McDonald, you know, he is staying with these guys. So it just goes to show, just because a car is lapped doesn't mean they are slow. They still has pace, and he's still very much staying, you know, part of this four-way pack.
Yeah, you saw how Mil Wayne was flinging it into the corners there to get closer to Buchanan. This is an incredibly tense battle. All three of them on push to pass here. All that extra power coming down to the Andretti hairpin. Buchanan just slowing up a little bit more for the second apex of the corner. And I think through this section, he should be able to hold on. It's really hard, though, to get it done. The curbs are very short around here. You've got to be careful not to dip into the gravel too much.
Well, speaking of the push to pass, I can see here the timing scoring is telling me that Zach Buchanan has 2 of them left. Ozzy Milwane's got 4, and Joey Haynes also has 4. A couple of the drivers, it looks like they've not even using it. Tory Pushman, let me have a quick look here. Yeah, Tory Pushman and Hansel Nave, both of them fully intact push to pass with 10 available. So, you know, potentially a bit of extra pace to be had. Same for Michael Broomhead, actually. He's got 6 left. But as I look at the race leader, Jonathan Wager, he's used up all of his. Definitely, you know, they say the best thing about a race car is if you finish with no parts left. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you got push to pass is still unused, you have thrown away potential passing opportunities and potential pace.
Yeah, you certainly have. But as you mentioned, Wager has used up all of his, and he doesn't need to use any more. It is the final lap of the race now, which means this battle for third is as on as it's ever been. But what kind of chance will Milwain have to get past Buchanan? It's very hard to pass around here. The only real opportunities are the Andretti hairpin and the final corner. You can make a move here at turn 6 if you play your cards right, preemptively defensive a little there for Zach Buchanan, and the corkscrew as well as another opportunity. Milwain and Haynes, they'll be banking on Buchanan making a mistake on the exit of the corner here, but he nails the exit. Meanwhile, up the front of the field, here comes Jonathan Wager to take a fantastic win in the first race here at Laguna Seca.
Definitely a well-deserved win. He showed dominance right from the start, sealing the first place away from Hardman. And, you know, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad position to be in. You can see there, Milwain, he's in the sand, but you know what? He's still in it. Is Joey Haynes going to try and make an opportunity now going down the start-finish? Buchanan sees this as game, set, and match, but right now, no, they're not going for the push to pass. Actually, it looks like Joey Haynes used 3 of them on that last lap, so he truly tried to send it. But what a fantastic battle between these 3 cars. Zach Buchanan able to hold on. Ozzy Milwain, Joey Haynes both trying everything humanly possible to steal that last podium spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, John Ben Walid, next to come across the line behind Bryce and Shooty. Michael Broomhead and Richard Swindells also about to come across the line too. A very spread out field here for only a 25-lap race at Laguna Seca. I would have expected the field to be a little bit closer than that, but we got some great battles out of it for sure.
Some absolutely fantastic battles as we see. That looks like Robert Covey. Just going purely off memory there, that looks like Robert Covey's car. That's for Howler Racing. He was saying he didn't get a chance to get too much practice in this week, but certainly, if he gets the opportunity to be in a defensive position, I know anybody who's got to go up against him is going to have their work cut out, but I'm looking forward to see. We'll go over the grid in just a couple of minutes there, but I'm looking forward to see how this is going to really, I love the fact we have the invert grid, but let's do the results first. So your race winner, Jonathan Rager in the 47 for Britannia iSports, he won. Andrew Harman second place. Zach Buchanan, Ozzy Mulwayne, and Joey Haynes. That was the battle we spent a good portion of time watching, and for good, absolutely fantastic reason. Third, fourth, and fifth respectively. Bryson Shute, he didn't manage to quite get caught up in that. About 10-12 seconds back. He's there in sixth again for Evolve Sim Sports. John Benvalid, pretty solid result. He's there in seventh with Michael Broomhead, your league founder. He's there in eighth with Richard Swindells in ninth and Nicholas Colander in 10th.
Yeah, fantastic job from Swindells and Colander as well, working their way from 15th and 18th respectively. JP Burns finished in 11th spot, second car a lap down, and Robert Ridgway and Takeshi Kita followed him with Horvath, Jones, and Covey last cars a lap down. Chapman, McDonald, O'Hayan, and Pushman all finishing 2 laps down with their issues. Hans Salnave finishing 3 laps down, and then we get into retirement territory. Unfortunately, Nick Adambev was not able to make it to the finish after a very chaotic race. Clovis Girard, 19 laps from the end, having technical issues there. Colton Gum and Tyler Scarali, big shame for those guys. They weren't able to even get a few laps into the race. Well, now, Zippy, we invert the top 10 and we get ready for what should be a very chaotic second race, considering how chaotic race 1 was.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in all things considered, the only big major incident we saw was at the race start. So all in all, I was actually very, very impressed with the standard of driving there in race 1. But I always find the invert grid, that definitely mixes up things again. And as well, they got to remember that, it's a fresh car, it's cold tires, it is not going to handle the same. And then not only that, everybody's packed even closer together. Certainly, some people, they are insanely fast at putting in outrageously fast laps, and they have racecraft as well. For me, I find a lot of drivers will tend to favor different, different strengths, different weaknesses. Now, you can get a guy who can just go put in an absolute blitz of a lap, but you get him in a scenario with other cars around him and he is not at his strong point, or she is not at their strong point. Myself, race starts is where it's at. Give me traffic to play in. Like, I don't mean like a chicken running around in the middle of the road, but that's where I do best. So certainly race starts for me is where it's at, and having that invert grid for the top 10, to me, that's Candyland. You're rewarding me for winning a race. Not that that ever happens, but sheer opportunity, and it adds so much fun, not only for the guys who do manage to be in that position, but the ones that so I think Michael Broomhead, he came 10th. He's going to get to start on the pole, and then all of a sudden it's defensive driving 101. But for the guys who won, they now have to work their way through a field. So it almost is like a great equalizer.
Yeah, certainly is. I think it gives a really good chance for the likes of Broomhead, Swindells, and Colander, right? They didn't have the best of races in race 1, got involved in various shenanigans, but starting from the top 3, they have a chance to hold on to it. The big challenge, though, will be for the likes of Wager and Hardman. They'll have a lot to work their way through here, and I'm thinking maybe they'll start on the softs again and pit extra early in race 2 to try and get that pit stop out of the way and run nice and long on the hard tires, making up positions with the undercut as other drivers pit.
Well, I was just thinking actually as well, something we talk around a little bit, but not too much, is the hard charges. And, we had a few people really moving through the grid. Nicholas Colander, he seems to be favoring being one of the hard charges at the minute. But I'm thinking in race 2, Like who would be my pick for a hard charger? And you know what? I'm actually going to go for Mark McDonald. I've seen fantastic pace from him. He got caught in that lap one incident. I can see him. I mean, currently, where he's at, he's got, there's a room in the grid to get the big number, and I think he's got the potential. But don't get me wrong, he's a very quick driver. But we're going to have to see to move through the field, he's going to have to be quite aggressive with making some passes at a track that really doesn't have that many, freebie opportunities, really clean. It's not like you got a nice long straight. You got a couple of them. But again, as you were saying, like turn one, and if you really, ballsy for lack of better words, the corkscrew.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot to play for around Laguna Seca, a lot of places to make mistakes, and it's a very narrow circuit as well, especially across the top coming up to the corkscrew. I think lap one, if we don't see some big crashes in the first part of the lap, that's where you're going to see the majority of incidents. But looks like warm-up is over in between our two races. We're going to invert the top 10 and go again.
Sounds like a absolute belter, and I'm looking forward to it. So Nicholas Glander, just speaking to him a minute ago, he gets to start on pole. So I've got a feeling there's going to be a couple of kittens up for adoption very shortly, and if you'd like to adopt one of those, speak to Nicholas Glander. He's going to be leading you off. Richard Swindells, he's in second. We're going to try and get clued into his driver cam a little bit later. Not that I'm biased, but I help him get it set up. Michael Broomhead, he's there in third alongside John Bemberlid. These guys definitely raced together for a good amount of time. That'll be a nice clean race. Bryson Shute and Joey Haynes, both Evolve Sim Sports. These guys are going to be good. We've seen Bryson Shute have incredible pace. Joey Haynes as well. He was up in that third battle for third place. Zach Buchanan and Ozzie Milwain. Zach Buchanan, same difference. These guys are going to be absolutely going at it. And Zach, I feel for him. He is surrounded by Evolve Sim Sports cars and Britannia iSport cars, because he's got Andrew Hardman and Jonathan Wanger right behind him in 9th and 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, from where they finished in race one, this is going to be a big elevation potentially for JP Burns and Robert Ridgway. Takeshi Kita, of course, involved on that start crash in race one. He is going to start out of 13th place alongside Nick Horvath. Marlon Jones, well, he managed to go up from 23rd to 15th in race one due to the attrition. Let's see how far up he can go from here alongside Robert Covey. And then Ryan Chapman, well, he's one of the eligible ones for the hard charger, along with Mark McDonald in race two. Rounding out the top 20, Cedric Ohayon and Tori Pushman, two drivers that did not have a very good time. They are both crashing out. Salnev, Nikadabev, and Gerard, as well as Colton Gum and Tyler Scarali, rounding out our field. Formation lap time, and we get another slow tour around Laguna Seca, the calm before the storm.
Yeah, definitely good to see these guys back. We will mention Clovis Gerard briefly. It looks like he is racing, but having some interesting connection issues. Both myself and the director finding he's kind of piecing in and out, so we're not quite sure what's going on there. I believe he took the grid. I mean, he's in 23rd. So he must have been racing. He must have took the grid. All the evidence is there, but definitely having a little bit of an issue with connection there. I was getting also as well in warm-up, Mark McDonald set the fastest lap, but I believe he's the only guy who went out for warm-up. So, power to him. That's the only way I win races, ladies and gentlemen, being the only guy who competes.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, any track time counts at Laguna Seca. In terms of the weather, the track temperature has actually dropped. It's now 39 degrees Celsius, so that'll help the soft tire runners a bit here. Looking at the field, it looks like our top 7 have decided to start on the soft. Zach Buchanan, interestingly, starting on the hards. I'm interested to see what he'll be able to do with that strategy.
Well, sometimes, as just the biggest one that's sticking out to me is actually Williams in Formula One. They don't have the most competitive car. They realize that, and sometimes, to have success or relative success. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a podium-winning car, it seems at the minute, but we've seen Alex Albon, for example, just pull off absolute miracles, and a lot of the time they have this obscure pitch strategy, and it actually works incredibly well for him. And maybe this is the kind of mantra that Buchanan's going with. I mean, sometimes you got to risk it for a biscuit.
Yep, It's a very big biscuit to win here at Laguna Seca, and Colander is going to be leading us away out of the final corner. Let's hope that the start is cleaner this time.
Yeah, we definitely do not want the full custard cream experience. You can see there. I do wonder as well if maybe part of the incident was when the green flag drops. And yep, that green flag's dropped and they are off and hot. And Colander, he's got a little bit of an advantage there where he gets to hold onto that inside line. Definitely where I'd want to be. But you see Broomhead absolutely catched him up under the brake, and Broomhead moving forward goes into second place. But already that's one of the Evolve SimSport cars, I believe. Trying to make, yeah, that's Joey Haynes.
Yeah, Haynes around the outside of Broomhead at turn 3. Beautiful move there. A little bit wide, though, unfortunately, for Bryson Schutte. That's backed up his teammate Ozzy Milwane, and Zach Buchanan runs into the back of him, has lost half of his front wing. That's a disastrous start for Zach.
Yeah, that's definitely going to have an impact on his race. It looks like there's almost a little bit of contact there with Buchanan and the 47 car of Jonathan Wager, and Buchanan dropped back down to 9th. 10th now, that front wing having a absolutely huge effect. Nicholas Colander able to hold on to that first position, doing an absolutely fantastic job. Joey Haynes already up 3 spots. He's not your hard charger right now. I'm going to be a little bit smug about this, but the hard charger as it stands is Mark McDonald.
Yeah, Mark McDonald up 4 spots. Actually, Nick Adambev is up 5 positions at the moment. So McDonald has to pass Horvath in order to get that hard charger award, as well as Robert Ridgway. Let's see what Nick Adambev can do here from back in the field, as there's a spin back there for Tyler Scarali. Unfortunately, at the final corner, and his rear wing is loose again. It's another race start that's gone absolutely horrendously for Tyler Scarali. Side by side between the Evolve cars here, and John Benwillid, Ozzy Milwane, and Bryson Schutte will move past Andrew Hardman, demote him there. The 47 is trying his best to make his way past here, and he is in the middle of the Evolve SimSports sandwich. Winner of race 1, of course, is Jonathan Wager, trying to make up these positions, but Milwane now behind Benwillid. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, definitely. I see a little bit of a lock-up there going into the corkscrew, and Wager is absolutely... Let me try that again. Absolutely capitalized on that. You see a very, very aggressive line. Had to go inside, outside. That Lima racing car almost like stuck on a conveyor belt at this point. John Benville definitely has my sympathy vote, as he is basically surrounded by a hornet of wasps. Not quite, I got the same animal twice. A swarm of wasps of fast drivers just absolutely buzzing to get by. Terrible pun, ladies and gentlemen. Fastest lap as well, it's just been posted. Mike Broomhead, he's up in second, puts in an absolute belter of a lap. And yeah, as it looks like right now, Colander, Broomhead, Haynes, Milwane, it was a little bit of a gap there between Haynes and Milwane. Wager, Schutte, Benvillid, Hardman, Swindell's now, I think he got caught a little bit there. We've seen a whole pack of cars. I think he went a bit deep, and he's currently dropped 7 positions. He's still there in 9th with Buchanan right behind him in 10th.
Yeah, indeed. Swindell's having a bit of a rough start here, as is the case for many drivers today, but the top 3 is closed in, and Joey Haynes going for the move at the corkscrew. He's past Broomhead for second.
Yeah, we'll get a short replay of that in just a moment. I've got to admit as well, the camera angles through the corkscrew do pose a little bit of a challenge, so it can definitely be hard to try and capture that, but fantastically ballsy move. You know, we'll see it again in just a few moments, but now, you know, Broomhead's in the middle of that Evolve SimSports sandwich. He's got Haynes, who we can try and use the draft and try and keep up. As you see, the top 4 all absolutely smashing that push to pass. Let's have a quick look here. You see Haynes going in hot, using the most of the line, getting an absolutely fantastic draft as to go up the hill. You see Colander ahead, and he manages to snake the inside, does him on the brakes, and that, I've got to say, that is a fantastic pass. Broomhead a little bit aggressive on the inside, but I've got to be honest, that was clean. That was a great pass.
Yeah, that was certainly fantastic from Joey Haynes, and you never know, he might try to line up the same thing on Nicholas Colander, as Andrew Hardman now passes John Benwillid. Benwillid absolutely falling down the order at the moment. Some big problems for him. You know, he has been getting swarmed by all the drivers, hasn't he? It's been really tough for the number 11. But the fight is now a 5-way battle for the lead. Colander now looking to get passed by Joey Haynes coming into turn 10. That's not usually a place you see a move. It'll be defensive now for the number 8 coming into the hairpin. And have a look at that. Aussie Milwane taking advantage of that check up, passes Broomhead for third. We have Wager right in the midst of it as well.
I gotta say, Colander is doing a absolutely fantastic job defending against these guys. He has really got his work cut out for him. As you see, Joey Haynes goes around the outside. He's going to put him on the inside for the next corner, and I think he's got that done. Now, Colander's going to have to try and shut that door. A little bit of a touch there. I was going to say he's got to shut the door on him, but not quite like that. You see here, dropping back. Broomhead capitalizes on that. So does Jonathan Wager, Aussie Milwane. And as we have a look at it, that inverse grid definitely causing a little bit of a delay for some of these guys to try and get to the front, but I gotta say, Colander did an absolutely fantastic job defending against the opposition he had to deal with.
Indeed he did. Well, your top 3 now, Haynes, Milwane and Wager, and they are separated by practically nothing. This is such an intriguing battle. You know, the Haynes and Milwane, they had Buchanan for company in race 1, and now they are up against the might of Jonathan Wager. Problem for JP Burns as well. He's falling down the order. It looks like he's had a crash somewhere along the line, but we'll keep our eyes peeled on this battle for the top 3.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a hell of a battle. Now, Jonathan Wager, he was able to get in the front and run away with it last time. This is not a luxury he's been granted here for race 2, so it'll be interesting to see. You know he had pace, we know he's got potential, but has he got enough that he can not only get ahead of Milwane and Haynes, but then can he pull away a gap? And I've got to say, I'm so impressed. That selfie gets me every single time. The traffic cone of Nicholas Colander. He's done a fantastic job defending them. I was fair to say I'm pretty proud of the guy, but as I look around, current hard charger is the 23 car of Assad Nikardambev. Now, that's who was caught earlier in the race 1 incident, lap 1 incident. As I see there, that's Mark McDonald going a little bit wide. He was as high as 11th, but Nikardambev leading the hard chargers right now with 10 positions gained.
Yeah, his aggression has paid off so far, and he's looking to make it up 12 positions here as he finds his way alongside Zach Buchanan for a moment. Remember, Buchanan's still carrying that damage that he suffered earlier. He's just trying to stake it out here in the first stint. He'll be forced into a slightly earlier pit stop than he would have wanted thanks to that damage, but he'll be able to make those soft tires last, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's got experience, and you know, driving with a damaged car adds another set of challenges, especially, you know, where it's the aerodynamics is such a crucial part of these cars. It's going to have an effect on the tires. It's going to have an effect on the braking, the speed, the corner. Every single aspect is going to be felt by that, and it adds like, you know, when you practice, you don't deliberately damage the car and then train with it. You know, you always try to practice on how to avoid these scenarios, and then, you know what, this is where you really sort of have to get more like in touch and like feel the car, feel the grip, and, you know, just try and react more accordingly. You see a lock up there. Who was that now? It was one of the Evolve Sim Sports cars.
Looks like Bryson got passed by Andrew Hardman there. Bryson was looking very quick in the opening laps, but I think he's worked those soft tires a little bit too hard, and will have to suffer now for a couple of laps before he comes in for the hards.
Yeah, definitely. Have we got a quick replay happening?
No, I think we've got to jump back to Mark McDonald and Zach Buchanan making his way into the pits now to get that damage repaired and get some soft tyres on that machine. It's going to be a difficult final stint here for Buchanan. Get the fuel in, get the tyres on, but yeah, those soft tyres will fall off towards the end. He'll be hoping that at least he has some clear air where he can make use of the extra pace those are giving him.
Well, that is a good thing about the BiS Indycar Championship. You do get to use one fast repair, and I see Tyler Scarelli, he's used his. Zach Buchanan would have just used his as well. As you see there, we're watching Joey Haynes right now. Yep, he is chasing down, or he's trying to chase down Jonathan Wager. Good luck to him doing that. But you see there, Aussie Milwane, Wager, and Haynes Ooh.
Here we go up the inside at turn 11. Haynes got passed by Wager in the corkscrew, and oh no, what's happened to Aussie Milwane there? Looks like he might have gotten a slowdown. He cut the inside of the final corner a bit too much. That's spread out the battle for the top three, and now it's Joey Haynes versus Jonathan Wager for the lead.
Well, the good thing is Milwane is still, he's within draft distance, and Broomhead's about 1.3 seconds behind him, but I don't know if he's quite got the pace to stay with Milwane, especially when Milwane has a toe off a Wager as well. So, you know, it'd be great to see Joey Haynes out in front, definitely somebody who's always, you know, he's great to talk to, great racer, and, you know, he's definitely going to have his work cut out trying to hold off Jonathan Wager, but this is the good thing about having teams within this championship, you know. He's got Milwane behind who can start to apply the pressure on Wager and take the strain off of Haynes.
Yeah, indeed. But I think for the time being, Wager's pace is simply too great. You see that he is gapping Milwane lap on lap, corner on corner, and Wager's looking now to get a move done here on Haynes at turn 11. No, he's not quite close enough to get it done, but Haynes is looking a little more scrappy at the moment.
Yeah, he's definitely very aware of the fact that Jonathan Wager is behind him. Aussie Milwane not yet able to catch up. He's about a second back. You see Wager trying to go around the outside, really using all of the track available. He's going to try and tuck it in and under potentially. No, not quite. Keeping it out, staying behind Haynes. Definitely, you want to try and get as much of that draft as possible. And, you know, these guys very, very, you know, very aggressive, trying to use as much of the track as they can, you know, make that corner, if anything, a little bit more gentle in some ways, you know, using more of the track. You see almost dipping a wheel in the sand there. The 14 car Milwane is dipping the wheel as Andrew Highland's just made it past Michael Broomhead.
Yeah, Hardman passing Broomhead for fourth place there. I think what Wager's doing now is just backing off a bit to save those soft tyres for another attack, because remember, we are getting into the 10th lap of the race now, and by this point the soft tyres will have fallen off massively. These guys running at the front of the field, they're going to have to be really careful of those tyres falling off. Gently does it, coming out of the final corner for them as we check back further to Nikarabev. And look at the run that he's got here, as it actually looks like Mark McDonald is going for the pits there. So Assad will make his way through and into the top 10. Is this going to be the comeback drive from Nikarabev that not many people were expecting? I have to wait and see on that one. But Wager continuing his run here, hasn't quite attacked Haynes as much as in the last few laps, but like I said, it's definitely a case of saving those soft tyres. But yeah, with 15 laps scheduled to remain on the timer, I think it's going to be, oh man, you see coming into the corkscrew there, the lockup. Yeah, those soft tyres have got nothing left in them. I'm expecting our leaders to come into the pits, if not this lap, then the next couple of laps, but all of them stay out this time.
Well, you say that, I'm just keeping an eye on Mark McDonald, and he's still in the pit, so I'm wondering why he hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, maybe. I think he sped on the way in. He was speeding on the way in. Because when you speed into the pits, you get a 40-second stop and hold or thereabouts, and 48.8 second stop for Mark McDonald. That makes sense. So yeah, the pit entry at Laguna Seca claiming a few victims today.
Well, the downside of that means that he's definitely not going to be my hard charger. Currently, that is Assad Nikarabev. He's up 11 spots. Jonathan Wager, he's up 8. But I got to be honest, that doesn't really surprise anybody in this kind of scenario. Absolutely phenomenal pace here in the BiS Indycar Series. But we're going to have a look through some of the other battles. It looks like Robert Kobe is under pressure from Cedric O'Hyan. O'Hyan about 6 tenths back. Kobe up 3 spots from the start. O'Hyan up 5 spots. And not only that, Takeshi Kita only 1.3 seconds behind O'Hyan, so he can't forget about that guy and just see him in the background there. And also as well, it's great to see that Lima racing car having a nice fresh paint on as well. Excellent stuff. I do believe we got a camera for Robert Kobe as well. As you see, he dipping a little bit of a wheel there. There you go. One of the more facially hair equipped individuals here at the BiS Indycar Series. I'm only mentioning it because I'm jealous. I cannot grow a beard to save my life. But I gotta say, Kobe, I've raced with him a little bit. We've seen him here on the stream, and O'Hein's going to have his work cut out. Now, I was talking a little bit earlier, about racecraft and stuff like that. This is something that Kobe has. I think he'd agree, he's not the fastest guy to post an absolute belter of a lap time, but if you want to get past this gentleman, you are going to have to work for it.
Indeed, Covey not under much pressure from O'Hayan at the moment, but you never know. Could be showing those defensive chops very soon indeed. This is a bit of a different story to race one in terms of strategy as well. We're not seeing anyone pit early. It's interesting to see that we've gotten past the halfway point of the race now, and we haven't had any of our front runners come into the lane for new tyres. Interesting stuff there. I think race one was a bit of a, oh, here we go then. Jonathan Wager around the outside. Oh, good defense from Joey Haynes. Wager's not going to be able to get past for the time being.
Oh, I say that. I thought he was going for it again. It was some close, I tell you. Whoa.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Wager is piling the pressure on now, seeing that Colander and Swindells have jumped into the lane for new tyres. Wager has saved up his softs, and he's going for it around the outside at turn 6. Just can't get it done. Haynes is putting on a great defensive drive at the moment. I'm expecting both of these guys to come into the pits at the end of this lap. I feel like those soft tyres have nothing more to give.
Well, you say that, they're certainly using all of them as they can. You see the left front locking up there for Jonathan Wager, but I almost feel like Joey Haynes, it's as if you're talking, I'm not trying to, say that Wager's a toddler here, but can you imagine having a toddler, just repeatedly hitting you with a fly swatter? Because that must be what it feels like right now. Joey Haynes having to try and defend himself every corner. Wager's right there. He's keen. He's trying to make a move. Mill Wayne's dropped back a little bit. I don't see an alert saying he's gone in the pits. Oh, there you go. No, he has pit. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. So that pushes Hardman up to third, Broomhead up to fourth, at least as it stands right now. But, absolutely piling on the pressure. And don't get me wrong, this is one of them situations, where maybe it's not making the move on track that's going to get you the position. It's forcing your opponent, forcing them to have an unforced errors. If he gets any closer to that car ahead of him, he is going to have his wing under that diffuser.
Well, I've got a thought, actually. Milwayne just coming into the pits, getting onto the hard tyre. Maybe Haynes is backing Wager up here. Remember, the undercut is very strong on this warm track. So Milwayne stands to gain quite a bit here from Wager and Haynes staying out for an extra lap, maybe 2. Haynes is going to go for the pits, but Wager isn't. I don't think that's the right decision, honestly. Wager, I think, has put himself in trouble here.
Well, we're going to have to wait and find out. It's one of those things where sometimes having that clean air where he doesn't have the pressure of another car, if those tires still feel good, his last lap time, let's take a look, he was doing a 109.4, best is a 108.2. So, you know what, I'm inclined to agree with you. This could be a mistake. That clean air, I don't know if it's going to be a benefit. I think Joey Haynes may have absolutely snaked him on this one.
Not to mention Aussie Milwayne, who's going to be coming up on his teammate pretty soon. Yeah, there we go. Here comes Haynes. Here comes Milwayne, sorry, at full speed. But actually hasn't gained all that much time. So yeah, I think Haynes is the driver that we're going to be focusing on in that battle with Jonathan Wager. The one-lap undercut potentially is going to be massive, but Wager might be banking on the likes of Milwayne and Haynes not being able to get their tyres up to temperature fast enough. Remember, there's no tyre warmers in IndyCar. That rubber starts stone cold, ambient temperature. So you have to spend some time getting them heated up, and that costs you time.
Definitely. Not only that, where you're changing tire compounds, you do potentially have to adjust, your brake markers and, where you're throttling on in the corner. Certainly, especially coming out of that corkscrew, it's one of them moments where you very, very, very gently feather the throttle in. I think if you was just to basically hit it like an on-off switch, it could end very badly. But looking through the field, I see Zach Buchanan's caught up to John Benvelin. He's going to be having a battle. And Cedric O'Hine and Takeshi Kida still quite close. Bryson Shute at the front of that battle. So for 9th, 10th, and 11th, there is a little bit of a tussle going on there between the three drivers.
Do you notice also that Jonathan Wager has one push to pass remaining?
Ooh, this could get interesting.
Yeah. It certainly could. He's going to be at a disadvantage to the Evolve Sim Sports pair. That's interesting. Yeah, Haynes with 6 left, Milwane with 7 left. So, yeah, Jonathan Wager has been on the attack in the early stages of this race, probably wasting those push to passes. We'll have to wait and see what his pace is like on the hard tyres as he comes in for his stop. Slow all the way down to pit lane speed. Hardman will go to the lead, still waiting on pit stops for him. Broomhead, Nakada Bev, Horvath, Ridgway, O'Hayan, Keita, and Burns. But what we're really going to be focusing on is those Evolve cars of Haynes and Milwane. How much time are they going to gain as Nick Adambev goes into the pits as well? Wager's pit stop is complete. Is this going to result in a pass here for Haynes and Milwane, or has Wager nailed this?
Well, I was just actually having a quick look at Wager's last lap before it just reset. He was doing like a 108.6, so he was definitely quicker without having the pressure of Joey Haynes, and it looks like it's paid off.
Yeah, that extra lap on the soft tyres as Milwane and Haynes were getting their hards up to temperature has really paid off for Jonathan Wager.
Yeah, but saying that, he's now got to try and hold on for the next lap until he gets a lap, maybe 2 laps until them tyres get up to 10. Last lap from Joey Haynes was a 109.7, 108.8, much more pace there from Ozzy Milwane. I don't think these guys are going to play team tactics per se, but I do think they will both absolutely swarm around Jonathan Wager. He is going to be the biscuit in the middle of the aisle at this point. The full, the filling in the custard cream.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Wager's certainly up to pace. And oh no, Milwane spun coming out of turn 10. Oh dear, Ozzy Milwane. He was looking at a guaranteed podium there, but he could be in trouble. Broomhead, meanwhile, comes into the pits as Wager and Haynes go through. Actually, Hardman. What's happened to Hardman? He hasn't come... Oh, yeah, Hardman's just come out of the pits himself. My apologies. So Wager and Haynes will move through to the lead, but not by much, as that's what happened to Milwane, just a little too crossed up coming out of the 10th corner.
Yeah, he tried to cut the corner a little bit too much, as you were saying, and you see there where the car hit the curb, he got a bounce, and that IndyCar suspension, not really a big fan of the curbs, but that's like Hardman, he's in a great spot to be right now, chasing down Joey Haynes, who Mr. Sneaky may have competition for that title, as let's have a quick look at Robert Ridgway as well. Looks like he's having a little bit of a battle. I say that briefly, it was there and then it was gone. He's coming out the pits, my apologies, and he's going to be right behind Nicholas Lender. Now, I just want to give a quick shout out to Robert Ridgway. It's great to see him back here with the BiS series. Good to have him back. And I believe we have Richard Swindells to thank for that. These guys are teammates, and Swindells was saying about just how much fun he was having, and then brought more people to the party. So thank you very much.
Yeah, excellent to see Robert Ridgway back, and he's obviously running down in 14th at the moment, but still having a good time out there, as is Richard Swindells, who's leaning as hard as you like into these corners. Sometimes that can give you a bit of a psychological advantage, leaning into the corners, extra couple of tenths here and there. I know a few drivers in series I regularly commentate that do that.
It's good to see as well Richard Swindells up on the camera, and this is one of the amusing little facts you can see there. If you watch him as he goes into the corner, you can see he leans in. I do it as well. It's just mildly amusing because even though we know it's sim racing, we still do it. You can't help it. It reminds me of playing Time Crisis 2 actually with my mother, and if you've ever played that game, they'll shoot bullets at you and it doesn't matter. But when they shoot the red things or like a rocket or something, you had to release the trigger and duck. Well, instinctively, you would start to Random fast. Oh dear.
No. Oh, that's a problem there for Broomhead. Looks like a bit of a crash ahead as well. Not sure who that was up ahead of him, but Broomhead, he's had a really tough time here. He just kissing the barrier there, coming out of turn 6, and then his problems continued at the corkscrew.
Yeah, I imagine all the sand on those tires definitely would have had an effect. Broomhead Ballerina, just I feel kind of guilty razzing him a little bit there, but he was the only guy at the IndyCar pole day who managed to spin it in one of his qualifying laps. So it kind of stuck a little bit there, and by stuck it means I brought it up again. But it looks like Zach Buchanan's caught up with John Benvalid. So, you know, that new front wing is definitely having an effect. He's able to recover up to 7th position. Don't get me wrong, he started 8th, but all things considered, you know, quite a... you know, it's not one of the best races there for Zach, but still some potentially good points there in the bag for him.
Yeah, exactly. You know, championship leader coming into this round, and he had a 20-point gap to, I believe it was Wager in 2nd place. But I think as long as he can get this top 10, top 7, maybe even top 6, if he can pass John Benwillid, that'll be some good points for him to back up his podium in race 1. And it looks like he will make the move on Benwillid there with a poor exit for the number 11. Into the Andretti hairpin they go, but interestingly, Buchanan's taking his time doing this. Benwillid wide, and Buchanan will try and nail the throttle on the soft tires here. Remember, Buchanan's been on those softs now for 14 laps. He started on the hards and wasn't able to take advantage due to the damage he got on lap 1. So he's at a disadvantage compared to everyone else right now.
Yeah, definitely, you know, it's all very good being able to push and stuff like that, but, you know, you have to manage the tires as well. And I do enjoy the fact that we have to use both compounds in this series. You know, it just definitely adds a dynamic. You see there, Nikardenbev, he looks pretty keen on somebody. Yeah, that's John Benvalid. So Nikardenbev up an absolutely astonishing 13 points. 13 places, and I say that 14 places. Looks like he's passed Nick Horvath as well. Yeah, so now he's chasing down... what happened there? Benvalid dropped off.
Yeah, looks like a trip into the gravel at the corkscrew potentially, and he's lost his wing as well. What on earth happened to him here? Oh, yeah, spinning on the exit and collecting the wall, goes for the flip, but sticks the landing. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that was definitely an Olympic grade flip, and I almost feel that he should have stuck his arms out either side of the halo to say that he'd finished his move there, and I think maybe he bottomed out a little bit there.
Yeah, seems that's the case. We get a good look at the underbody of the Dallara IRA team there. And, well, he'll continue on, but we'll have to jump into the pits to get that damage repaired. Meanwhile, Haynes and Hardman are trading spots for 2nd place. Haynes trying to gain these positions back. Remember... oh, actually, no. It's Hardman who's on the charge at the moment. Man, what a drive it is from Andrew Hardman here. I wasn't expecting him to be in and amongst the top 3 like he is. This is fantastic stuff. And he's going to try around the outside of turn 2 as well.
Joey Haynes just can't get a break. He has been absolutely primed in the middle of the racing action, and these guys have definitely raced before, certainly for a couple of seasons here at BIS. And another interesting fact as well, if we look at the push to pass remaining, so Hardman's only got 2 left. Joey Haynes, he's been able to hold on to a couple more. He's got 4. So, you know, Jonathan Wager, he's out in front. He's got none left to use, but you know what? He's 5 seconds ahead. He don't need it. Hardman is the guy who's going to be needing to use those, and he's down to 1 as he's put another one, absolutely slamming that button, trying to make a move, force his way alongside as they're going down into the corkscrew. A little bit of a lock up there, manages to stay out of Joey Haynes. Great car control, ballsy move, but didn't quite pay off.
Man, yeah, Hardman is racing hard at the moment, isn't he? This is fantastic to see. And like you mentioned, it's helping Jonathan Wager. No push to passes left for the 47 in the lead, but I think consistency has been key for him. You know, his run out of the pits plus that fantastic in lap has really helped him out. You know, I thought that he would be in trouble with no push to passes left, but apparently it just seems that Haynes and Milwane have been struggling to set those consistent fast times. Lapped car, meanwhile, for Joey Haynes. That's Marlon Jones in the number 25. Let's see how much trouble this puts him in. Jones will keep it. Oh, he slows up on the exit. That's not ideal there for our second place battle. And Hardman almost stood a chance of getting back past, but man, he's going to have to wait a little longer, I think.
I thought he was going to lock up there as he went into the entrance of the corkscrew, taking such a... it was almost like the nose of the car was going down the center of that curbing, but able to keep it held on. And a very, very fast corner, like 123 mile an hour. He's just gone around there and down. This is one of the prime passing opportunities there into the final turn. As they're going to head down into the Andretti hairpin. You know, he's got the last push to pass. This is, you know, this is his final one. Joey Haynes still has two. He's smashing it as well. Final lap. If he's going to make it happen, he's going to have to make it happen pretty damn soon.
Yep, Jonathan Wager in the lead by 7.8 seconds now. Massive lead for Wager. But there's still a chance here for Hardman to get it done on Joey Haynes. There's also battles going on for 6th spot. Buchanan, Nikardenbev and Horvath all fighting over that coveted 6th spot. But we'll keep our eyes on this second place fight. This is fantastic stuff, but I think Hardman having a bit of trouble keeping it out of the gravel trap and Haynes just taking more speed through turn 6. I think he might have secured this, just needs to avoid making mistakes coming out of the corkscrew. But up the front, Jonathan Wager again. What a fantastic drive from the number 47. One of the fastest drivers in this league, and he will see the checkered flag.
Yeah, very well deserved win. He had to definitely work a little bit harder for it this time round, making 9 positions through the grid. But I just want to get our eyes back on Joey Haynes and Hardman. They're running out of track. Yeah, they did run out of track. Joey Haynes managed to get it done. He still had one push to pass, able to, you know, keep them in the bag. That's Nikardenbev going into the final turn. He's right behind Buchanan. And as I have a quick look, I think he's out of push to pass as well. And who's this now? That looks like Swindles. Yep, that's Richard Swindles. He's chasing down. I've lost him there. Trying to chase down John Beverly at about 0.4 of a second. And he had a little bit of an off a few moments ago. He was having a little bit of a battle with Robert Ridgway, who's now about 5-6 seconds up the road. You can see him there. It looks like he's not quite able to get it done. Stuck in the middle between two of the Lima racing cars of John Beverly and Cedric O'Hayan.
Oh, man. What a fight that was between Swindles and Benwalid for that 12th position. 11th position. Benwalid ultimately finishing there, and that's all of our drivers now across the line. Unfortunate to see late retirements from Nicholas Collender, Takeshi Kita as well. Real shame for those guys. They were pushing hard and looking to get a good result in race 2, but that will not come here at Laguna Seca.
Well, I've got to say that was an absolutely fantastic evening of racing. For me, Joey Haynes has got to be like my driver of the day. Like, he was constantly under fire, you know, and he did an absolutely phenomenal job, kept it clean, you know, Mr. Consistency, you know, that's almost what he's going to be known around here as. Has a hard time getting that top step of the podium, but I think last week he just did third, and third again. So even though it was, you know, I think last week was non-championship, wasn't it? Yeah, non-championship last week. He still goes and smashes in the third positions, but we're going to hopefully catch up with a couple of the guys for interviews very soon. I know Andrew Hardman is going to be standing by. Joey Haynes does usually come in, but before that, we're going to take a little quick commercial break.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back after that quick commercial break. We have been able to catch up with some people in just a moment, but let's actually go over the results. I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit there. My director can definitely give me a little bit of a slap afterwards. But in the lead, we had Jonathan Wager. He was your race winner for Britannia iSports. Second place, Joey Haynes with Andrew Hardman in third. Ozzy Mulwayne having that spin near the end. He came fourth with Bryson Shute in fifth. Zach Buchanan getting caught in that little incident earlier, losing that left front wing. He was there in sixth. Asad Nikadabev absolutely stonking charge through the field. 15 positions gained. He was in seventh with Nick Horvath in eighth, Michael Broomhead in ninth, and Robert Ridgway, welcome back, in 10th.
Yeah, brilliant stuff as John Benwillid finished just ahead of Richard Swindells for 11th. Cedric O'Hayan, another 2/10 behind them. Robert Covey, JP Burns and Mark McDonald were the last finishers on the lead lap. Late retirement for Nicholas Collender, but he will be classified 2 laps down. Same for Marlon Jones, Tori Pushman and Takeshi Kita. And then our 3 retirements, Colton Gum, Tyler Scarali and Ryan Chapman. Hans Salnave and Clovis Girard did not take to the start of race 2. So unfortunate goings for drivers at the back of the field. But we're going to move to the front of the field because Andrew Hardman is about to join us here for the third place interview. Fantastic stuff from you, Andrew. Started on pole, finished second in race 1, and working your way up from 9th to 3rd in race 2. You looked quick today.
I felt pretty quick. I must say, after the first race with Jonathan Wager, I don't think I said to him, because we're in the same chat, I've never been gapped that much and thought I was doing a good job. The guy is just on another level. Just sort of a couple tenths each lap consistently. That was really impressive. But yeah, the Britannia cars seemed to have some pace on the Evolve cars tonight, so that was good to see. ran out of time and talent to get past Joey at the end. But we had a good battle, and that's what matters, I suppose.
Yeah, it looked like in terms of tire strategy, starting on the softs was the way to go. It just seemed like the undercut was very strong here. I think largely due to the track temperature.
I haven't thought about it that much. I mean, I went with the softs because I could make them last fairly well, and if I'm on the faster tire for longer, I suppose that makes more sense. And I do think that the black tire was faster than expected near the end, but that's also due to the fact that we were on such low fuel with it being a long first stint. So yeah, stuff to look at. I didn't get nearly enough practice this week, so next time I can really look into the tire strategies. But fly by the seat of my pants tonight, and it worked somewhat. So yeah.
Yeah, certainly did. Well, big championship points here for you at Laguna Seca. Is there anyone you want to thank for that drive?
Well, I'd like to thank my team. I mean, Jonathan Wager is schooling us. He's been a good help with driving technique and setup. Well, not setup, tire strategy. And Mike Broomhead for running the team, running the league. He's been always a legend. And you guys for putting on a great show. I'm looking forward to watching this one again.
Absolutely. Andrew Hardman with a great finish, 2 podiums here at Laguna Seca. And we'll say goodbye to him. And we shall bring in Joey Haynes. Zippy, you're stood by with him.
Well, Joey, Mr. Consistency Haynes, it is great having you back in the booth. I say that first race you weren't able to quite secure a podium, but second race things were back on. But I gotta say, you were working hard tonight, Joey. Tell us a little bit about that battle. Well, actually, in both of them, because you had Aussie Milwain there with you. Did you have any team tactics or anything like that?
Not so much. We just try to work together and make sure we're not impeding each other and, giving each other a little bit of space and a bit of a heads up for how we're going to race around each other. But besides that, it was mostly just, Laguna's such a tough track to pass on, and you really got to plan your moves accordingly and take advantage when people make mistakes and get in there. And yeah, it was tough.
Like, what did you find was like, because we was looking at the push to pass and some of the drivers, really not utilizing them to the full, but I was keeping an eye on yours and I always found that you had a couple in the bag at the end. And I think that's how you got Hardman. You had it in the kitty, so he was already out going into like the last lap and you had a couple there. And I think if he had got an opportunity, that was enough. But tell us a little bit about where you found the best spot to use the push to pass. And, not only that, where was your favorite place to try and make a maneuver?
I mean, the best place to use push to pass was down the front straightaway every single time, because you could really try and either defend or line up a move into turn one. But honestly, I think my favorite place to make a move was the corkscrew tonight. It seemed like I had it going on. So, it's one of those things where if you can make it stick, it's great. And I didn't really have to Zanardi anyone to make it happen. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, actually, we did see the pass earlier that you made on Mike Broomhead, and it's one of the things I said going into the race where definitely not somewhere that I would pass, but I got to admit, and don't let this go to your head too much there, Joey, but you're a better driver than I am, and that's okay, But what an absolutely anybody who knows me in the car will know that I don't even stand a chance against Joey Haynes. But what an absolutely fantastic race night, Joey. Going into it, I mean, damn it, where are we going next? Actually, we'll have a look at that in a minute. Before we do that, Mid-Ohio. Thank you, Reese. How do you feel about Mid-Ohio? Is this a good track for you, or?
Honestly, not one that I have a whole lot of laps on, Dave. I bought it recently and started doing some laps in the TCR car for fun, but it's one I'm going to have to hop in and really dig into with the IndyCar and get myself familiar, because it's pretty bumpy and windy through that midsection in Sector 2, and it's going to be an interesting race, and it's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Well, definitely, and certainly, the street circuits. Mid-Ohio is a street circuit. I'm sure it is, isn't it?
I mean, it might as well be. It's pretty tight.
There you go. I felt sure. I obviously I've not driven many laps on that one either. I've got my Princess approved track list. But Joey, before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank today?
Yep, just all the guys that evolve. Everyone does a great job here. It's great to have a bunch of guys who I'm familiar with to race with every week. It's a lot of fun. All of our sponsors, Joe's Pokestop, TNT Racing, Tranco, they all help make all of this possible. Mike for putting on such an excellent league. And of course, you guys for the great broadcast every time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joey Haynes, thank you very much. He finished P2 in the final race, and it's fair to say he had to work pretty damn hard for it. Thank you very much for popping in, Joey, and we'll see you at the next round.
Thanks, Daniel. Hope to be talking to you again soon.
I hope so. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's Joey Haynes, and coming in next, we have your race winner, and he's caught up with Reese, Jonathan Wager.
Indeed, Jonathan, double win here in California. You must be happy with your performance there. Seemed like consistency was key.
Yeah, very happy with the result. Ever since I started practicing this week, it's just felt really good, and I felt like I had the pace, and yeah, great race.
Yeah, did you think you were in trouble when the Evolve cars decided to pit earlier than you, or did you still have enough left in the soft tire at the in the mid phase of race 2 there to just nail the in lap and get it done?
Yeah, I think I still had enough rubber on my reds, but the issue is the blacks are so slow for the first like 1 or 2 laps. So honestly, the overcuts kind of more effective around here, to be honest, than the undercuts. So going a lap longer, I can't remember if I did 1 or 2 laps, but it all worked out in the end, and I could have even probably won another lap before pitting.
Well, championship-wise, this is certainly a big points day for you. There's only 3 championship rounds remaining here. So, now is the time to really get on the board.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's also 4 drop rounds as well, or 4 drop races. So hopefully when those come into play, it will shoot me up the standings, because I missed out on Long Beach.
Yeah, indeed. Should be a good run here. Well, congratulations once again, Jonathan. It seemed like no one could catch you, even with no push to passes remaining at the end of race 2.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I want to thank you guys and the whole production team again. You do a great job, and as well as Mike for organizing the whole league and making sure it runs smoothly. And yeah, thanks again.
Brilliant stuff from Jonathan Wager. The double didn't quite grab the pole position, but managed to get both race wins at a trot. So that's going to conclude our driver interviews for tonight, Zippy. What a great night of racing. Really looking forward to Mid-Ohio in 2 weeks' time.
Absolutely fantastic night of racing, and there was battles going on all over the grid. Don't get me wrong, there was times where it spread out a little bit more, but that is the beautiful thing about BIS. There's nearly always somebody for you to race with, and I'm looking forward to seeing Mid-Ohio. Definitely, it's not one of the tracks I'm familiar with. We've just confirmed that. I might have driven it once or twice, but obviously not enough that I can remember the layout. But certainly, I'm hearing from Joey that it's going to be a little bit bumpy, so I'm interested to see how that's going to turn out. Are these guys going to start? If you get the car light enough, are you then going to, as the weight comes back down, are we going to start seeing a little bit of over rotation potentially? But what a night! What an absolutely fantastic night. Obviously, the points get updated in the next day or so. But we should probably also give another shout out to the sponsors as well. Flying Husky. It's great to see people doing things to make the world a better place, kind of deal. And it's just one of those things where. It's sad that we need to have rescues and stuff like that. My dog was a rescue. I say that. She's not lived a hard day in her life, bless her. So thank you for them for doing that. Obviously, actually, I did foster a dog that was a retired sled dog as well. So that's pretty awesome, to see people doing that. But, Reese, what would be what would probably be your biggest highlight of the race? What was one of the moments that is just that was cool?
I think that entire battle between Wager and the 2 Evolve cars of Haynes and Milwain, just a fantastic bit of racing, and exactly why I love IndyCar racing so much. I'm really looking forward to Mid-Ohio. I hope we'll see more of the same there.
Definitely, definitely. Well, you know what? It's been great having you in the booth as always. It's great as well. Our director is still a little camera shy, Mr. Christian Hill. I may have to Photoshop something to put, not that I could put it on the screen anyway. He's got control of that. You just asked my sister. I once Photoshopped a horse's head onto her body. She didn't like me anyway, but you know, fun stories, ladies and gentlemen, fun stories. Reese there with the face palm. It's been great, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to see you in it's about 2 weeks' time. Terrible, July 10th. So about 2 weeks. I'm obviously not capable of reading the calendar this week, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to be seeing you next time real soon. I'm looking forward to seeing more action. Hopefully we don't see a couple more battles. Can Buchanan recover from this? You know, can Jonathan Wager pull ahead? Can Joey Haynes get off the third or second spot and hit a course win? We'll find out. Thank you for tuning in here at Pit Road Productions.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across. Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.